Hello everyone and welcome back to the One Stop Co-op Shop. I know it's been way too long, but we are finally coming back to Legends of Andor, The Last Hope. Now in the last video, which was almost a month ago, I asked you guys about where I should maybe put those 2 additional strength points and who to give those apple nuts to. Nobody gave me advice, so I'm just going to do what I think's right. Let's see if it's right. My plan was to give the 2 additional strength points to Marion, because she is going to be one powerful attacker that her first attack each battle, she'll have 6 strength points. That's got to be awesome. I'm also going to give her what we call the Storm Shield. Now, the Storm Shield you technically gained in the first or the 11th scenario, the first one in this expansion. But what we have here, it says the Storm Shield. Each side of the Storm Shield can be used once to fend off a negative event, and that can be on behalf of the entire group of heroes, or avoid the loss of willpower points for the bearer of the shield after a battle round. So if we do fail a battle round, we can flip this to prevent losing willpower, and then we can use it a total of 2 times. I think it should go this way. There we go. We also have 1 set of apple nuts, and I'm going to go ahead and give that to Bait, because remember, when Bait eats, she will get 6 willpower points or 1 strength point when she eats her provisions. So it's important that she has her food, because she can get stronger by eating. If we look here, I believe we have all of the equipment. Don't forget, I did give the telescope to Pasco, our archer. So with that, the lowest ranking hero is going to go first. That is going to be Marion. Marion's then going to be followed by Bait. Bait will then be followed by Pasco, and Pasco will be followed by Lafardis. Don't forget what our task is. We are trying to find the mountain folk. We need to find 3 of these green men before we hit the letter G on the narrator track. Otherwise, we automatically lose the game. Let's go hunting. In Legends of Andor, your turns are actually quite simple. You can only do really one of 3 things. You can either move, you can fight, or you can simply stay where you are and spend 1 hour doing nothing. This is because in 1 round, it's determined by how many hours you use. So you get 7 free hours during the day with 3 hours that you can potentially use. Consider them being at night, and so you have to lose 2 willpower for every one of those additional hours that you use. But so each time it's your turn, you can choose how much you want to move, but for every movement you make, it takes 1 hour. If you decide to attack, that's going to take 1 hour. If you attack and you don't defeat the enemy and you want to continue to attacking them to defeat them, each time you attack them, it takes an hour. So everything's based upon this track. You can kind of see it up here on the top left corner. So what we're going to do with Marion, we're just going to use 1 hour, and we're going to have her simply move into this spot, this 230 area, because there's a cave token there. And if you end your turn in a location that has a token, you reveal it. So that also includes the fog tokens and the cave tokens. The most important thing to remember in this game is that enemies will never attack you directly unless they're a boss. They're always going to just walk through your specific space, and you can walk through spaces with monsters. You have to attack them. So now let's go ahead and reveal this token. Of course, look at me, always getting ahead of myself. We used 1 hour to move there, so we need to take our turn or time tracker here and move ourselves up to the 1 space. Now you can see I have these in the order of the players, so next will be Bait. Let's go ahead and reveal this, and we have, are you serious? Sweet, we already found our first mountain man. Awesome. Marion cautiously approaches the small figure. Its shaggy hair was almost like grass. Its clothing was made of fur and rough wool.
My name is Jorn. I'm an Agrin. That is what we have called ourselves ever since our ancestors settled here years ago.
Marion asked Jorn about the Pale King.
You know of him? I've seen him too. He's been roving around for a few months. He and his bone warriors. We are being hunted too. That is all I know. But you should arm yourselves. Here in the Grey Mountains there were wars many years ago. We still find old weapons dating from times long past. I wish you luck. Then Jorn disappeared.
Now we can roll 1 red die and 1 hero die in order to determine the spaces on each of which 1 old weapon will be placed face down. More than one on a space is also possible. Cool. The red die will determine the tens digit of the space number, and the hero's die will determine the 1 digit. Then add 200 to it. Then essentially we can look up what their abilities are when we pick them up, and this is telling us we cannot look at the Mountain Folk 2 card until we find another one. Here we have the 5 old weapons. I honestly don't even know what they do. When we gain them, I'll go ahead and look them up and show you what they do. I will flip these upside down, give them a shuffle, and off camera I will randomly place them on the board. We have 2 over here by this tower, and then we have 1 over here right by Lafardis and Bait. Ooh, that's kind of tempting. We also have 1 way over on the left side of the board, right by this huge old castle tower looking thing, and it actually also is where we have a well, where we can gain some willpower if we go there, but we're not going to go there for a while. And then our final one is over here in the forest. That will finish Marion's turn, and I think going to Bait, it's kind of a no-brainer. I want to see what this old weapon is. So, yep, because we're on 234. We'll spend 1 hour and come to this location so we can reveal this. We'll move our time tracker. Here, we have used 1 hour. Let's see what we found. We have, I think those are iron gloves. These iron gloves are pretty sweet for Bait. She will be able to add together 2 dice of any value in 1 battle round. So when she rolls 2 dice or more, she can take 2 of them, add them together for 1 battle round, and that is awesome. She'll go ahead and place that here in her inventory. Moving to Pasco, I think we're going to spend 3 precious hours. I know it's a lot, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. And remember what I said. We don't have to worry about this enemy being here. We can move through that space. It's assumed this space is large enough that that enemy is probably chilling on this side of the log. We went on that side. We don't have to worry about fighting him. We're going to go ahead and use this telescope. This is going to allow us to reveal all adjacent fog tokens. That's why I wanted to do it there. I only see 1 better spot on the board, but I just don't think I'm going to get there for a while, and I'd like to know what's going to be around there, because I do not want to reveal enemies over there if I don't have to, because they're closer to our camp. I see 4 fog tokens that are adjacent, so we have, oh nice, another one of the mountain men, or mountain folk. Oh, +1 strength, an event, and some apple nuts. That is actually not bad. I'll probably avoid this one, but all of those are golden. When you play this game, they always recommend one person be the time tracker, and I see why. You're going to notice I will always forget to move these. So we should have moved this 1, 2, 3, because he used 3 hours to move to that location. Lafardis is quite known for his reading, so he's not going to mess around. He's going to spend 3 hours to read all of his books about magic, so he has all of his special abilities. He has the portal magic, will allow him to teleport himself and one other hero on his space back to camp. That way we don't have to eat. He is going to also learn about light magic, where he may move 1 creature to an adjacent open space. That is going to be super helpful. And then healing magic, this one's kind of weird. You may allocate a quantity of willpower points equal to the 1's digit of your space number to the group of heroes at that location. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea if that was a good idea to spend 3 hours doing that, but he thought it was a good idea, so I said no problem. 3 hours will put him right up there with the Archer Pasco. Now everybody has gone. Now we'll move back to Marion, and Marion can take another action using her hours left on the track. Marion sees this mountain folk here, but she also understands she talked to the last one. It might be a good idea if someone else talks to this one. So what she's going to do is simply spend 2 hours to come over here to where this fountain is. This means she'll move from 1 all the way to 3. As we all know, it's a lot of work riding a horse. So she and her horse are going to take a nice sip from this clear water here and gain 4 willpower points. Oh, that water is quite refreshing. This also means now when we have our attack, we get to roll 3 dice. Well, we had 3 before. I guess it doesn't matter. But we're closer to getting all the way to 4 dice. Bait is next, and she feels like, if you think about it, she would understand the mountain folk the best, right? So she's going to spend 2 hours to come over here and speak to this mountain folk. This means everybody now has used 3 hours of their day. Bait has now encountered an Agrin. This one seems a little bit stronger and bravely met the hero's gaze. "My name is Joss. You already met my brother Jorn. He said we could trust you." With those words, Joss amiably extends his hand to the hero. In his hand was a small gift. Now and always from now on, a hero who activates an Agrin can immediately take an article of his choice from the equipment board other than the Star Herb or the Witch's Brew. This applies not just to this legend, but to all subsequent ones as well. Oh, cool! So you can take something from the equipment board. I'll show you what that is in a second. Here we have the equipment board. So we have a ton of different things that we can get here. We could get a falcon, which allows us to trade things from far away. We have a helm, which would allow us to add our dice together if they were equal values. We have a wineskin, which allows us to do a move action for free. It doesn't cost us a day, and you can do that twice. We could get apple nuts. That's kind of cool, but that just helps with provisions. But we already have enough apple nuts, although we could grab one and give it to somebody else. We can't get either of these two. I'm going to be honest, though, I'm going to go for the wineskin, because having additional free movement is so key in this game, at least from what I remember from the first game. We'll go ahead and place that here. Now, most of these tokens are two-sided, so we get 2 uses out of this thing. I love that. "You are looking for the Pale King, correct? Unfortunately, I hardly know anything about him, but I believe he comes from our land, from Andor, and I know that you will defeat him. From that is what was prophesied." "There is a prophecy?" asked the hero. No, more sort of a picture. It's kind of hard to explain," mumbled Joss. "The eldest one among us, Groan, can tell you more about it. Find him!" We're not able to read the Mountain Folk 3 card until we activate the next Ogrin, and also remember you must also have read the 3rd Mountain Folk card before the narrator reaches letter G. So far, we are doing great on that, but I don't know how we're going to find the 3rd one. That will end Bait's turn. I think we're going to move on to Pasco. Pasco's going to use 1 hour, come over here, and just snag some apple nuts. This way, he doesn't use too much time, and we also make sure that he can eat at the end of the day. Before we move to Lafardis' turn, I want to show you something that's unique to this specific board. Do you see this area? This is kind of like a chasm, okay? You cannot cross this just anywhere. So Lafardis can't just come over here to reveal this fog token. You have to go through and essentially jump over this area. Now, in order to do that, you have to have 10 willpower. Well, he only has 7, so he's not going to be able to do that. But Marion, who we just upgraded, will be able to do that, unless she loses some of her willpower. So right now, Lafardis' options are limited. All the other heroes have kind of done everything over here, so I think I have an idea. We're going to have him move 1, 2, 3, and go to the same spot as Bait. Using 3 hours, though, is getting him very close to the end of his day. Whenever 2 heroes are on the same space, they can freely trade any items that they have. So we're going to have Bait give her wineskin over to the wizard, because we're going to try and have the wizard go over and push one of those enemies over there so that they aren't going to start coming to the camp too quickly, and then that way we don't have to destroy them. Because in this game, you don't always want to defeat enemies, because when you defeat enemies, you push the narrator track or the narrator token up the track. So for every enemy that we kill, it's going to move faster up that track, and then we run out of time trying to find that Argrin or the Mountain Folk. So this way, we can utilize his abilities. At least that's what I'm planning on. We'll see if it works. We'll now move back to Marion. Marion's going to use 3 of her hours. She's going to go 1, pick up Bait for free, because she can do that. That's her special ability. Bait has jumped on the horse. 2, 3, and end here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this strength token, and I think we're going to give it to Marion. I totally could give it to Bait, but I just think that it's a good idea to have someone incredibly strong, and then Bait can help her, especially in caves. So I think we're going to go with that. That was 3 hours, and you can see I already forgot to do it right away. So Marion is now at 6. Since Marion carried Bait so nicely, Bait is going to spend 2 of her hours coming over here to check out this cave. She'll move herself to the 5-hour mark. Now the question becomes, what are we going to find here? Let's see. Oh, we found our 3rd mountain folk. Seriously? That's awesome. The first thing we get to do is grab one of the equipment items, and I think we're going to grab another wineskin. And suddenly there appeared Groan, the eldest of the Ogren. He spoke very slowly and with a deep, creaky voice.
The gray mountains were once a wondrous place. The light shimmered like silver on the high peaks, splendid to look at.
Bait felt impatience rise within her and interrupted the Old One. I thank ye for this glimpse into the past, but what does this have to do with the Pale King and the prophecy? Groan nodded thoughtfully before explaining.
It is the king of the dead whom you will be confronting. He hunts for the Kadir, the oppressors of slaves, but you will defeat him. Thus it was foretold. There is a cave with a mysterious painting on its wall. Hrawl the Wise left it there. They say that he had second sight. Only when the Chosen One is there at the right moment,
concluded Groan,
will he or she be able to recognize the picture. Hral's picture is the key to defeating the Pale King.
If there is a cave token on space 260, it is now removed from the game. This cave will no longer be filled. Now place one of the hidden hero crests on space 260 and turn it over. Here we have all the crests of our heroes. Let's give them a good shuffle, and we'll pick one. Let's do this one. Oh, it's blue. That means Marion has to be at spot 260 when the narrator hits letter J. Oh boy, 260 is right here, and that's super far away. If you look, we have to make sure that Marion will have 12 willpower to be able to get over this to get over here. Ugh. So it was nice that the mountain folk proved to not be too difficult to find, but now we have to get all the way to letter J, I believe, before we know what's really going to happen next. So I think we're actually going to try and take out some enemies. So what I'm going to do for Pasco's turn is I'm going to have him spend 2 hours to come over in here at 2:15, and he's adjacent to this location where I think we're going to try and do a battle. Our heroes are getting dangerously close to the end of their days. Lafardis is going to go ahead and use both sides of the wineskin, so he gets 2 free move actions. He'll go free move, and spend just 1 hour moving into this location. This is Lafardis' last hour that's considered free. If he uses another hour, he's going to have to spend 2 willpower points. Or he can retire at the beginning of his next turn, when it's his turn, and then he's done for the round, but then he doesn't have to use any additional willpower. We're going to move back to Marion. Marion will take 1 hour and move here. Means we have to reveal this token. Oh, we found another mountain man. They are apparently quite easy to find. Sorry, I thought they were going to be harder to find. We don't have any more cards to read, but we do get to still gain 1 equipment. I think we're going to go ahead and grab an apple nuts. I don't particularly want to lose 7 willpower for not eating, so this way we don't have to worry about it. I nearly forgot. We need to use 1 hour to do that. And you know what? I'm going to go to Bait's turn, and I'm going to move the hour track first. Maybe that way I'll remember more often. So we're going to use 1 hour for Bait. Bait is going to move into this location where we have Marion and this enemy. Given that Marion can move other heroes around, Bait is going to go ahead and give her wineskin to Marion. Moving to Pasco's turn, he's going to initiate combat, but he's not going to initiate combat in his location. He can do it in an adjacent location. but at the same time, he can ask any other heroes that are in that location with that enemy if they'd like to join in. And both Bait and Marion want to. So what we'll do is we'll move Pasco and Bait up 1 hour. We'll also have to move Marion 1 hour, but she is going to have to spend 2 willpower points to do that. Unfortunately, that's going to push her back to only 9. I think I had it at 10 before. It really should have been 11 because she gained 4 by drinking that water. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then she's losing 2 willpower points to join in this battle. First thing we determine is what we are fighting. We are fighting a mountain scroll. So that means we are going to be fighting an enemy that has 6 strength. That's why I'm fighting together. On top of that, a mountain scroll has a total of 10 willpower points, which means they will roll 3 red dice for their attack. But that's okay. That's the whole reason why I have 3 heroes trying to fight this one scroll. So you always start with the base value of your strength. So Pasco is going to start with 2 points of attack. Then what he gets to do is roll 4 dice. Now, how he does this is he rolls 1 die at a time, and when he wants to stop, he can. So if I roll a 5, I can maybe just stop there so that I gain 5 additional attack points. What matters is you can only take 1 die, and the moment that I roll a new die, I can't take the old die number. With all the other heroes, we'll roll all their dice at one time, and we'll just take the highest number and add it to our strength value. Here we have our 4 dice. Let's pick the first one up. And we rolled a 2. Nah, definitely don't want to do that one. So we'll take the second one. A 6. Yeah, that's the best we can get. We will take that. So 6 plus 2 for our strength. Right now, our attack value is 8. For Bait here, we'll start with a 2 as our base value. We'll only roll 2 dice. But here's the thing. We've got our iron gloves on, so we get to just add those 2 dice together. I'm hoping for 2 6s here. Let's see if we can get 2 6s right here. Now we got a 5 and a 1. Well, at least we get to add them together. That's 6 plus the 2 strength. That's another 8. I'm liking it. 8 plus 8 is 16 so far. Marion, though, is our fighter. Look at this. She is going to start at 7, and then we'll roll 3 additional dice, and we'll add the highest one to her 7. Looking for another 6. Well, we got a 5. That's pretty good. 7 plus 5 is 12. This means our total attack value is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20, 22, plus 6 is 28. We have 28 total strength. Now, the Mountain Scroll has a total of 6 strength to begin with, and now we'll roll his 3 dice. The only thing you need to know that's different for him is doubles will add together, as long as they're higher than the other die. So let's say if I got 2 2s here, so I rolled a 2 and a 2 versus that 6, you'd still choose the 6 over the 2 2s. But heaven forbid I roll 2 6s, he's going to have 12 that'll be added to his 6 strength. Okay, let's hope that does not happen. I'm looking for no doubles here. And we got a 1 1 and a 3. Okay. 6 plus 3 is 9. We had a total of 28. So 28 minus 9 is a total of 19. We just did 19 points of damage. So you always compare the two. Only one side will ever take damage. Even though he did a total of 9 with the 3 that he had here, plus his 6 strength, we subtract that from our total strength number, and since ours is higher, he takes the 19 points of damage. You always take damage in your willpower. Well, he only had 10 willpower, so he goes all the way down to 0. We just defeated him. So now we get to reap the benefit of defeating him. We can either gain 6 willpower or 1 strength. Let's go ahead and do the willpower as the benefit. And what we're going to do is give 1, 2, 3 over here to Marion. We'll give 2 to Pasco, 4, 5, and we'll give 1 to Bait, 6. We then have to place the defeated enemy here on the narrator track, and this pushes up the narrator token 1 space. Now these stars notify us that there is some text that we need to read, so let's do that now. A distant hammering echoed through the ravines. The work on the bridge was coming along well, and soon the troop of Andori would be able to move forward. But suddenly, a different noise could be heard among the hammering. Rough voices and wild slobbering. More creatures were coming! We need to have someone roll a red die, and then see what happens. We'll give a roll, and we have a 2. So that means we place 1 Vorger on space 252 and 1 Mountain Scroll on space 220. We just place the Vorger right here and the Mountain Scroll over here. That will end Pasco's turn, and I think at this point the video is long enough. Let's stop here. I'm tired. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I did not realize we were going to find those mountain folk so easily, but I guess we'll see what happens next. I have a feeling we're going to have to deal with some enemies anyway, but yeah. So far, so good. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if you see any mistakes, and I will see you at the next stop.